The collapse is happening right now. What we're seeing in Northern Europe isn't just a crisis. It's the beginning of something far more dangerous. And if you think this won't affect you, think again. Latest reports reveal shocking numbers. Entire livestock sectors are disappearing. Not declining, vanishing completely. But here's what the mainstream media won't tell you. This was planned. Let me show you something disturbing. Finnish meat producers are shutting down operations at an unprecedented rate. Entire farms, gone. But why now? The answer lies in a decision made 10 years ago, and its consequences are finally hitting home. The price of meat has become astronomical. Basic food items are now luxury goods. But here's the twist. This isn't about natural market forces. This is about a deliberate strategy that backfired spectacularly. Estonian agricultural sectors are in free fall. Their leaders promised prosperity through European integration. Instead, they delivered economic suicide. The real question is, who benefits from this collapse? Think about it. When was the last time you saw empty meat counters in Western supermarkets? This isn't just about food prices anymore. It's about control. And here's where it gets interesting. The same officials who promised to punish Russia are now watching their own agricultural sectors implode. But Russia's economy? Adapting and growing stronger. The irony would be amusing if it weren't so tragic. Here's what they don't want you to realize. Those sanctions they imposed? They're working perfectly, just not in the way they told you. They're working against their own people, while strengthening those they intended to weaken. The most disturbing part? This is just the beginning. The real impact hasn't even hit yet. And when it does, well, that's what we need to discuss next. But first, tell me in the comments, are you seeing meat prices skyrocket in your area? Because what's happening in Finland and Estonia right now is coming to other regions soon. And understanding why is crucial for what's about to happen next. But let's look beyond the surface. What we're witnessing is a fundamental restructuring of European economic reality. The sanctions meant to isolate Russia have created an unprecedented backfire effect, particularly visible in Finland and the Baltic states. The agricultural sector has become the canary in the coal mine. Just look at the numbers. Meat prices have skyrocketed to luxury good levels. Small livestock farms are shuttering operations weekly. What was once everyday food has become a status symbol, appearing on tables only during special occasions. The irony is palpable. While politicians trumpet moral victories, citizens face an absurd reality where potatoes are priced like premium coffee. The situation in processing plants tells an even darker story. 13 major meat facilities have halted operations, leaving thousands unemployed. The domino effect is devastating. Dairy companies are following suit, bakeries are closing, and confectionery production is grinding to a halt. But here's what mainstream media won't tell you. This crisis was engineered. The transition to American gas supplies has revealed a crucial truth. Europe hasn't escaped dependency. It's merely switched masters. Infrastructure inadequacies combined with high prices are crushing local industries. The public response has been telling. Protests are spreading. But notice how the anger has shifted. It's no longer directed at Russia. Citizens are turning against their own leadership, whose economic understanding seems limited to populist slogans. Finnish and Baltic politicians resemble students trying to feed the hungry with lectures about meat alternatives. The social fabric is unraveling. While families count every coin, authorities display remarkable indifference. The spring of 2024 marked a breaking point, when food industry workers, pushed to the edge, shut down production lines in protest. Most concerning is what's happening behind closed doors. Intelligence sources suggest that certain power centers are betting on this chaos. They're counting on social destabilization to push through radical changes in economic policy. And just when you think you understand the game being played, a new player has entered the field, one that nobody expected to see at this table. The economic situation in Finland and Estonia has reached a critical point, revealing the fragility of what seemed stable just months ago. Basic necessities are becoming luxury items, while government promises ring increasingly hollow. The architects of sanctions continue preaching principles, but their words lose meaning against the backdrop of empty refrigerators. Their attempts to pressure Russia have backfired spectacularly, creating severe problems for their own economies. Instead of achieving the intended effect, they've gotten the opposite result. Businesses are suffering losses, jobs are disappearing, and public trust in leadership erodes daily. Against this crisis, official statements about democratic values sound particularly bitter. Reality shows that political ambitions often conflict with people's basic needs for survival. We've reached a point where rhetoric fails, and fundamental questions of survival take center stage. Finland and Estonia, once the most zealous supporters of anti-Russian restrictions, now find themselves in disarray. The expected impact never materialized. Instead, unexpected consequences emerged. Questions hang in the air. Where were the backup plans? Why didn't anyone foresee obvious risks? Grocery stores have become museums of rare goods. Meat products have vanished, becoming hunting trophies for wealthy gourmets. Meanwhile, politicians busy themselves crafting perfect social media images, as if competing in a beauty pageant. The reality paints a different picture. Empty dairy shelves, angry queues at stores, and rapidly evaporating public trust. It's as if political elites jumped into a deep well without checking for a ladder first. Their strategic planning resembles trying to make kebabs from nothing but charcoal. Plenty of smoke, no substance. While Eurocrats continue assuring complete control over the situation, facts suggest otherwise. Citizens' grocery baskets are shrinking rapidly. Personal savings are melting away, and general bewilderment at government actions grows. Ironically, the sanctions proved effective, not against Russia, which continues to stand firm, but against their initiators. What do you think about the current situation? Leave your answer in the comments. The bitter reality of Europe's current situation has reached such ironic heights that even the blind could see it. While officials make grand speeches about values, empty shelves and growing social discontent tell the real story. The sanctions machine, designed to pressure Russia, shows remarkable precision in damaging Europe's own economy. What we're witnessing could be called political masochism, if not for the tragic consequences affecting millions of ordinary citizens. The European Union performs a grand spectacle of severing economic ties with Russia, while quietly purchasing Russian energy resources in record volumes. In 2024 alone, €22 billion were spent on Russian energy, quite a sum for supposedly broken relations. It's like watching a circus act where clowns in expensive suits juggle statistics while ensuring their bonuses and comfortable foreign business trips remain untouched. While official representatives make thunderous declarations supporting the country marked 404, reality reveals a hypocritical scene, like someone giving passionate speeches about dieting while secretly devouring cake. American liquefied gas is presented as a healthy alternative, a premium product with a markup for democratic values, a sort of energy luxury with a patriotic label. However, European infrastructure proved completely unprepared for such changes. Terminal construction stretches over years, logistics resembles a lottery, and the system's efficiency compares to generating electricity with an exercise bike at the South Pole. Europe simply switched from one supplier to another, but under much less favorable conditions. The consequences are catastrophic. The chemical industry is losing competitiveness. The transport system operates at its limit. Industrial enterprises balance on the edge of closure. It seems the sanctions policy was developed by people completely unfamiliar with the concept of Plan B. The result? Loud declarations turned into painful blows to their own economy and skyrocketing energy bills. European authorities pompously announced their rejection of Russian energy. But in practice, the situation resembles a chain smoker who swears to quit while secretly finishing cigarette butts. What do you think about the current situation in Europe? Leave your answer in the comments. The reality of Europe's energy choices has become painfully clear. American liquefied gas has proven to be worth its weight in gold, literally. Prices have skyrocketed to astronomical levels, with Europeans now paying lunar expedition prices for the same kilowatts they once got at reasonable rates. They're not just buying fuel, they're purchasing moral indulgences for their sanctions policy. Washington couldn't be more pleased. The EU submissively pays while rebranding energy dependency as strategic partnership. Meanwhile, Russian gas continues flowing through third countries, like an ex-spouse secretly paying alimony while pretending to be a stranger. Markets follow their own laws while politicians recite independence mantras. European households tremble before winter bills. Brussels, in its attempt to show strength, has only confirmed its weakness. The sanctions meant to weaken Russia have become a goldmine for the US and a financial pit for Europe. All that's left is to hold their heads high while watching their wallets empty. The EU proclaimed energy independence while Washington methodically established control over the European fuel market. Sky-high prices became the direct consequence of this political theater, where viewers paid admission from their own pockets. American LNG hasn't become an alternative. It's transformed into an expensive membership card to an exclusive club, with draconian prices and mandatory displays of political loyalty. Infrastructure projects for its reception devour budget funds, creating a financial black hole. The ghost of replacing economic laws with rhetoric shattered upon reality. Simple solutions and mutually beneficial cooperation with Russia were rejected for loud gestures. Now European industry suffocates under bills, while gas terminals work as giant pumps, transferring money across the ocean. Russian energy, despite official statements, continues heating European homes, just through longer routes at higher prices. While officials celebrate victory over dependency, ordinary people examine their bills like characters in a dark, futuristic novel where basic needs have become luxury items. What do you think about Europe's energy strategy? Leave your perspective in the comments. The European saga of energy dependency has taken a dramatic turn of energy. What was once a pragmatic partnership with Russia has morphed into a costly submission to American interests. Washington's ultimatum is crystal clear: abandon Russian energy and prepare to pay triple while praying that LNG tankers arrive on schedule. This new partnership resembles daylight robbery masked by glossy alliance slogans. The US operates like a street extortionist. Pay up or freeze. There's no real choice. Either accept draconian terms or face empty pipelines. The contrast with previous times is stark. When gas flowed reliably, prices were reasonable, and business cooperation persisted despite political differences. They deliberately dismantled the old system to build something more expensive, unreliable, and humiliating. American energy companies now behave like drug dealers, controlling supply, dictating prices, and shaping Europe's political climate. While Brussels pretends independence, overseas masters make it clear who's really in charge. European politicians who dreamed of being grandmasters of world politics have become mere pawns in someone else's game. Energy resources have transformed from development tools into instruments of subordination, with gas bills becoming visible chains of this new bondage. The grand declarations about European sovereignty now ring hollow when each cubic meter of shale gas reminds us of the real situation. Golden terminals, golden prices, golden chains of new dependency. Europe pays triple in money, political freedom, and common sense. Trapped in this energy predicament, the EU must purchase American LNG, as temperamental as an opera diva and as expensive as an oligarch's yacht. While power corridors buzz with talk about protecting democratic values, ordinary citizens receive bills that inspire either tears or bitter laughter. Was it worth destroying decades of established economic ties in a surge of Russophobic hysteria? Maintaining proven contracts, predictable prices, and stable supplies seemed logical, but common sense lost to political hysteria. They chose posturing moral superiority over warmth and prosperity, wrapping themselves in flags instead of warm blankets. What do you think about the current situation? Leave your answer in the comments. The European energy policy of recent years perfectly demonstrates how practical benefits were sacrificed for performative principles. Reliable pipelines were traded for astronomical bills, while certainty about tomorrow was exchanged for illusions. Citizens are now paying twice, first for overpriced LNG, then for their leaders' political myopia. Those who continue believing in temporary difficulties may find comfort in official reports with pretty graphs from European institutions. but private conversations increasingly reveal anxious questions. When will this madness end? Pragmatism is no longer viewed as a betrayal of values, but as the only way to keep homes warm and food on tables. Enter Trump with an indecently large bill of $350 billion, a number seemingly pulled from thin air simply because it could be demanded. It's like being charged champagne prices for a glass of tap water, with an extra fee for atmosphere. In trying to escape one dependency, Europe has fallen into another, more expensive and humiliating. Now Europeans must pay not just for energy, but for the privilege of being the right kind of ally. It's similar to visiting an elite spa where instead of relaxation, clients receive repeated blows to their wallets. Sanctions, designed as weapons against Russia, have boomeranged back to Europe with double force, hitting ordinary citizens' pockets. Hydrogen projects remain beautiful fantasies. The green transition is an unrealistic dream, while American LNG has become a painful necessity with unpredictable prices and deliveries. European politicians naively believed they could indefinitely pump the economy with declarations and promises. But this illusion has burst, revealing an ugly truth. Empty wallets, confused faces, and helpless attempts to maintain the appearance of control, all while hypocritical speeches about fair trade mask blatant economic dictation. The continent finds itself trapped in an expensive experiment with no clear exit strategy. What do you think about the current situation in European energy markets? Leave your point of view in the comments. I believe my viewers are thoughtful and smart, and I want to hear your take. The European continent finds itself in an unprecedented trap of its own making. On one side, there's relentless price pressure from across the ocean. On the other, there's pride preventing acknowledgement of obvious truths. Simple solutions for restoring mutually beneficial cooperation are rejected to maintain an absurd political theater. Even as voices everywhere call for a return to the negotiating table, politicians remain stubbornly fixed in their positions, as if hypnotized by their own rhetoric. Admitting mistakes has become more terrifying to them than watching an entire continent's prosperity crumble. It's become a peculiar taboo, an untouchable dogma of new political religion, where fanaticism trumps common sense and performative principles outweigh people's actual well-being. In freezing homes with astronomical heating bills, Europeans listen to politicians' pompous declarations as if political slogans could replace warm radiators. Meanwhile, across the ocean, profits are being meticulously calculated. You wanted market relations? Here they are. These negotiations resemble an uneven battle between a tank and a bicycle. Europe theatrically slams the door, feigning independence. But by the first frost, it comes knocking again, trembling with cold, begging for a reasonable approach. The irony is that this crisis was predictable even to ordinary citizens. While Moscow offered predictability and mutual benefits, Brussels responded with hysteria and chaotic decisions. Now the continent reaps what it sowed: semi-empty gas storage facilities, shocking prices, and growing panic before the heating season. When ideology prevails over economics, only cynical calculating players win. European principles have become their own executioners, and instead of an influential player, the mirror shows an exhausted debtor in worn-out pajamas with European stars. Each morning begins with the torturous question: when will this end? Common citizens have become bargaining chips, their comfort sacrificed for ambition. The show goes on with the same actors, same roles, same stubbornness. What do you think about the current situation? Leave your answer in the comments.